since it is 6, to become stable it needs 2 more electrons. So there are 2 oxygens. So another oxygen also requires 2 electrons. So what happens is, so here there are 6 electrons. Here also they have 6 electrons. So they need 2 more electrons. What this oxygen does is, it will take up this electron and become stable, and this oxygen also will take up 2 of the electrons and become stable. So what happens is, so this, since there are 4 electrons involving in the reaction, it will form a double bond. 4 electrons in the sense 2 pairs. So this oxygen will form O double bond O. So likewise, another example is CO2. So carbon, it's 2 4 because atomic number is 6. Oxygen is 2 6. So carbon requires 4 more electrons to become stable, but oxygen requires only 2 electrons. So there is another oxygen which requires 2 electrons. So oxygen, totally 2 oxygens requires 4 electrons, and the carbon also requires 4 electrons. So what happens? Carbon, since it has 4 electrons and this oxygen has 6 electrons, so it will take up its electrons and become stable, and the other oxygen will take up this electrons and become stable. And also what carbon does is, carbon will not sit simply. This will also take up 2 electrons from this, and this carbon will take up 2 electrons from this, and they become stable. So they form C double bond O and C double bond. Since there are 4 pairs are involved in this reaction, so here, sorry, 4 electrons, here 2, here 2, here 2, and then here 2. So they form a double bond. This is about double bond. Next is the triple bond. So nitrogen you already know. So nitrogen is 2 5. Okay, it requires 3 more electrons. So N2 if you take, so each nitrogen requires 3 electrons. So nitrogen. So there are 5 electrons, it requires 3 electrons. So this nitrogen, it will take up this 3 electrons, and this also will take up this 3 electrons and become, and this will become stable. Okay, so this is about triple bond. So what is the cause for this covalent bond? First thing is electronegativity. So electronegativity should be very small and it can be negligible also. So electronegativity difference should be between the atoms should be very less or not at all. The second property is it should have high ionization energy. Third thing is it will have high electron affinity. And fourth point is the valency electrons will be 4 to 7. Only those which have valency 4 to 7 will undergo covalent bond. So these are the 4 causes for this covalent bond. So next is covalency bond has 2 types. One is non-polar and another one is polar. Non-polar covalent bond, polar covalent bond. So non-polar covalent bond is formed between the 2 atoms which are identical or non-identical. But the thing is the electronegativity between the 2 atoms should be very less or negligible. Whereas in polar covalent compound, the electronegativity can be small, but there should be some electronegativity. Whereas in non-polar, no need of electronegativity. For example, H2, Cl2. These are all non-polar compounds because the electronegativity between two atoms is negligible. These are identical. Some are non-identical. Example as methane. This is also non-polar because the electronegativity between these two is very less because the carbon is not more electronegative than hydrogen. Very little it can be electronegative. So polar covalent bonds are those where the electronegativity has a value, and for example polar covalent bond like ammonia, water, etc. Since oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen and nitrogen is more electronegative than hydrogen. So there is some electronegative value in the polar covalent bonds, and non-polar covalent bonds has no electronegativity values between the two compounds. So next is what is the difference between non-polar and polar. So non-polar is where the atoms are identical, whereas polar the atoms are non-identical. So here the compounds are non-identical. Identical. Here the compounds are non-identical. And so here there is no charge separation since electronegativity is not negligible or not there. Here there is no charge separation, but in polar compounds there is a charge separation. And solubility. Non-polar compounds are soluble only in non-polar solvents like benzene, toluene, hexane, etc. Whereas polar compounds will be soluble in only polar compounds like water, etc. So, and these are very bad conductors of electricity since they are not soluble in water, but those are very good conductors of heat and electricity. So this is the difference between non-polar and polar compounds. Next one is what are the characteristics of this covalent compound? First one is the state of existence. So these exist in the form of liquids or gases, and some are solids also. So liquids or gases or solids. So next one is the melting point, boiling point. So the melting and boiling point is very low for the covalent compounds since these are not solids and there is no greater forces of attraction like electrostatic force. Third one is the physical state. As I already mentioned, they are liquids or gases or solids, and also the forces of attraction are very less, so there is a van der Waals forces of attraction, very weak forces of attraction. Van der Waals forces of attraction. So fifth point is isomerism. So isomerism, since these are directional, there are isomeric compounds in this covalent bonds. Then sixth point is conductivity. So these are very bad conductors of electricity since the ions are not free, and also they will not form ions. They will not form ions and they are not free at all. So seventh point is the nature of reaction. So these are covalent compounds. So the reaction will be very slow. Whereas in ionic compounds the reaction is very fast. But here the reaction takes place very slowly, but it takes place completely. Now next topic is coordinate bond or dative bond. Before that we will learn what is bond pair and lone pair. So bond pair is nothing but a pair of electrons involved in the formation of a bond between the two atoms. For example, if you take NaCl, so this bond is called as bond pair. Whereas lone pair is nothing but, for example, if you take NH4 plus and ammonium ions, so there will be nitrogen will have a lone pair of electrons which are not involved in the bond. Those are called as lone pair. Whereas bond pair which are involved in the formation of bond, lone pairs are not involved in the formation of bond. So now we will learn about coordinate or dative bond. So coordinate or dative bond is the bond which is formed by the sharing of electrons. The sharing of electrons taking place only from the only one atom. The other atom is not involved in the sharing. So for example, what are the conditions for this coordinative bond? So this is not having much importance, but there is a formation of this coordinate bond in few compounds. So what are the conditions is the one which is the atom, one of the atom should obey this octet rule, and it should have one extra pair of valence electrons. So one pair of valence electrons, and the other atom should have this is one atom. The another atom should have less one valence electron, so that it will share its electron with this atom. So, and what the importance of this coordinate bond is, so if one atom is not having any electrons, but the other one is having electrons, so it can share its electrons and it can form a bond. So there is no involvement of this one of the atom, but the other atom struggles to give electrons and then share. So that is the importance of this coordinate bond. So we will see examples how happens. So first example is the NH4 plus ammonium ion. So nitrogen atomic number is 7 and 2 6. So hydrogen, there are 4 hydrogens. So nitrogen, so there are 6. So there are 4 hydrogens. Okay. So since these hydrogens are not having anything, so this nitrogen will share its 2 electrons with hydrogen, this 2 with hydrogen, and this 2 with hydrogen. So it requires 2 more electrons to become more stable. So there are lone pair of electrons here. So what happens is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So the one which is having lone pair of electrons will contribute to the another hydrogen. Then what happens is, since all are bond, this nitrogen will gain a positive charge. So it is written as NH4 plus. Understood? So nitrogen will have 6 electron pairs. Again it requires 2 more electrons to become stable. So what happens is, it has 2 electrons will share with one hydrogen, 2 electrons with another hydrogen, and 2 more electrons with another hydrogen. But the another hydrogen is simple. With this lone pairs, it will bond with the hydrogen and form a positive ion. So it will bond with the 4 hydrogens and become a positive charge. So next example is hydronium ion. Hydronium ion is H3O plus. So oxygen 2 7. Okay, 2 7. Sorry, 2 6. So 2 6. Now hydrogen has 1 electron. So there are 3 hydrogens. So oxygen, it has 6 electrons, but it requires 2 electrons to become stable. So it has 3 hydrogens. So hydrogens, actually they are H plus because they don't have any electrons to share. But this oxygen will share with hydrogen and makes the hydrogen also stable. So one pair will bond with hydrogen, another pair with hydrogen, another pair with hydrogen, and this becomes positive. So 3 hydrogens will be sharing its electrons with the oxygen. Since they don't have electrons, but oxygen will share its electrons with hydrogen and becomes H3O plus. So this type of bond is called as coordinate bond. And there is another example. OH minus. So this OH minus is formed when water is ionized. It forms OH minus and H plus. So during the water ionization, the elimination of H plus leads to the OH minus. So now we saw the examples of positive, that is H3O plus, NH4 plus. These are all positive ions which are examples of coordinate bond. And OH minus is also the coordinate bond where it has a negative charge. So these are the few examples of this coordinate bond. Now, so we say cation anion, right? So cation, there is a loss of electron. So for example, if you take Na, the electronic configuration is 281. So loss of electron. So here first shell, second shell, third shell. So loss of electron is 1 electron. If we remove, it becomes stable. So it becomes Na to Na plus. So if we remove this electron, what is the electronic configuration of Na plus will be? It will be 2 8, which is very stable electronic configuration. Here there is 1 shell and 2 shell. So there is no third shell. So if there is loss of electrons and it becomes cation, the number of shells decreases. Number of shells decreases and the size of the atom also decreases. So as the number of shells decreases, the atomic radii decreases and the size of atoms also decreases. Now coming to anion, gain of electrons. So for example, fluorine, when it gains an electron, it becomes F minus. Okay. Now its configuration is 2 7. First shell, second shell. Here it becomes, since it will gain an electron, it will become stable and it will form 8 electrons. Now here also 2 shells. Here also 2 shells. So the radius increases. Even though the number of shells are same, but the atomic radius increases. So as the atomic radii increases, which means that the size of the atom also increases. So cation, it decreases its size, anion, which will increase its size. So next is what is the effect of electricity on this covalent compounds or electrovalent compound? So we saw that electrolysis. So what is electrolysis? Is the chemical decomposition of an electrolyte in the electrolytic solution. So the effect of electricity is, so some of the compounds will generate electricity, some of the compounds will not generate. So how do we identify which ionic compounds are covalent compounds which will generate electricity? So there is one experiment. They set up an experiment. So these are the electrodes. There is an ammeter and then battery. So one is negative, one is positive. So positive end is always by a cathode, attached to a cathode, and negative end is always attached to anode. These are two platinum electrodes and there is an electrolytic solution and this is electrolytic cell. So you take a electrolyte, either ionic or covalent, so suppose if you take an ionic compound, so what happens is there is a generation of electricity. If they, for example, they took a covalent compounds. So covalent compounds, I already mentioned, they don't form ions. No ions, no electricity. Whereas ionic compounds, they will generate ions. That too free ions, only in the only in the molten state. Since there are free electrons, which leads to generate electricity. So covalent compounds will not generate electricity, whereas ionic compounds will generate electricity, which means that ionic compounds will generate electricity only in molten state or liquid state, but not in solid state. But because there are two reasons: one, covalent compounds, they will not form ions, and they are very easy to break, but they don't form ions, and there is no electricity. Whereas ionic compounds, there are free ions to generate an electricity. So by this we can distinguish which compounds will generate electricity by this experiment.